Hello everyone, welcome to Easy Biology. The topic is about respiration in plants. Respiration, the energy releasing system. In plants, who perform respiration? Okay, so which part perform respiration in plants? In plants, stomata of leaves, lenticels of stem, and root hairs of root. So these perform respiration in plants. One is the stomata present in leaves perform respiration, and the lenticels of stem and root hairs of root. These structures perform respiration. And what about the conduction? How the conduction of respiration occurs in plants? So for example, conduction within the plant. Generally, the plants which are present in our surroundings, they are terrestrial, so that they can take oxygen from the surrounding atmosphere. But what about the plants which are living completely in waterlogged conditions, like mangroves? So mangroves are the plants which are living in marshy areas. So they are living in marshy areas. Okay, so before discussing about this mangroves topic, so first we will discuss about how the conduction of exchanging of gas occurs in plants. For this we have to recall the upper epidermis, means TS of leaf, and polycid parenchyma, and we know already here is a vascular bundle, and this is the spongy parenchyma, where spongy parenchyma, between the cells of spongy parenchyma there are intracellular spaces. Okay, whereas intracellular spaces are absent in palisade parenchyma. And here this is the lower epidermis. In lower epidermis, stomata are present, which are surrounded by two kidney shaped cells called God cells. Right. So how the conduction occurs? So first, from the atmosphere, the oxygen enters into, or the air enters into the plant cell through opening called stomata. From stomata, they enter into air space. Okay. From air space, they enter into water film, so that the oxygen is dissolved in this water. So water film means, so the cells are lined by water film in the either palisade parenchyma or spongy parenchyma. The cells are lined by water film, like this. Then from water film, the oxygen enters into cells. Now the cytoplasm of cells which contain glucose, is now oxidized. And we know already, after oxidizing, what will release? Carbon dioxide is releasing into the atmosphere, and water is used by the plant body itself, and energy is released for its activities. Okay, so here what is the process involving is diffusion process. So for example, atmosphere, air is more, there is no air in stomata, so immediately the air from the surroundings goes to stomata. In stomata the air is there, but there is no air in the air space, so immediately from stomata the air goes to air space. From air space, as there is no air inside the cell, now the air enters into the cell. So in this manner, whatever the air which is entering into the cell contains more oxygen, less carbon dioxide, in case of respiration process. Whereas which is coming to outside contains more carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is how conduction of gases exchange occurs in plants. Next, what about the aeration of roots? Aeration of roots concept is related to mangrove plants. Mangrove plants, aeration of roots. So the plants which are living in completely waterlogged conditions, there is a possibility of leading to death of the plant. But there is an exception for the plants which are living in marshy areas called mangroves. Why? Because they contain an adaptation. They have an adaptation. What is the adaptation here is the presence of aerial roots, and hollow stem. Hollow stem means there is empty spaces inside the stem. And subaerial roots means we know already the roots are under the soil. But here the roots come above the soil surface in case of mangrove plants. And the roots which come above the soil surface, they contain small hole-like structures. Their roots contain small hole-like structures called pneumatophores, which are nothing but air spaces. And these air spaces are continuous to hollow stem, means where there is empty inside. So this air is freely moving in stem and supply air to the upper parts of the plant body. So this is how respiration occurs in mangrove plants which are completely in waterlogged conditions. Next. So for example, if you are asking about how will you prove that carbon dioxide is releasing in respiration, right? How will you prove that carbon dioxide is releasing in respiration? For this, what we have to do is we have to take a glass bottle. In this glass bottle, take some dry seeds like Bengal gram seeds or moonga seeds. Then take a small glass bottle in which lime water is taken. Okay, lime water is taken. So these are the dry seeds and this is the lime water. So leave it for few hours. Okay, for 2 to 3 hours like that, leave the entire setup. After few hours, we observe that the lime water does not turns into milky white. It's mean what? These seeds does not release carbon dioxide. Okay, so why they does not release carbon dioxide means they did not perform the process of respiration. Okay, so whereas take germinating seeds, same seeds we have to take germinating seeds. So by placing them in a wet cloth tightly, so that we can get the germinating seeds in the next morning. Okay, now place as it is. After a few hours we observe that, so these are sprouts means germinating seeds. We observe that the lime water turns into milky white, indicating the gas released is carbon dioxide. Okay, thus we can prove that carbon dioxide is releasing in respiration. Okay, this is when asking about carbon dioxide. When asking about heat, so how will you prove that heat is released in respiration? If that question is asked, for this what you have to do is, you have to take a thermoflask. Okay, in this take some dry seeds. So the question is about heat. So heat means you have to remember about thermometer. Place the thermometer such that the bulb of the thermometer is in the middle of the seeds. Right. Okay. So after few hours, there is no rising of mercury level as heat is not released by these dry seeds. Why dry seeds not released heat means they do not perform the process of respiration. There is no respiration process occurred by dry seeds. by dry seeds. That is why heat is not released. Whereas here we have to take germinating seeds in this case, then what will happen after few hours? The heat is released by the germinating seeds so that the mercury level rises in the thermometer, indicating the gas released is that heat is released in respiration, indicating that heat is released in respiration. Next. So if we want to write the differences between photosynthesis and respiration, there are many differences for photosynthesis and respiration. So what are the differences? For example, see here. Here it occurs in presence of sunlight. No need of sunlight. Here no heat energy is released. Here heat energy is released. Here carbon dioxide and water are the reactants. Here carbon dioxide and water are the products. Okay. Here glucose and oxygen are the products. Whereas here carbon dioxide, which are the reactants here is glucose and oxygen. Okay. Next. It occurs only daytime. Photosynthesis occurs only daytime. This occurs throughout the day, means day and night. This is called constructive process. Why? Because here new product is forming. That is why constructive process. And this is called destructive process. Constructive process is also known as anabolic process. And this is called catabolic process. Okay. This process occurs in chloroplast of cell. This process occurs in cytoplasm and mitochondria. Cytoplasm and mitochondria. It leads to the formation of ATP. In this process, utilization of ATP leads to the utilization of ATP. Here ATP is formed, here ATP is utilized. Okay. So like this there are so many differences, and at the end we may also write the equations for photosynthesis and respiration also. Okay. Like this there are several differences, and one more also we can write. Here photophosphorylation occurs where ADP, inorganic phosphate, is attached to ADP to form ATP. In presence of sunlight is called photophosphorylation. Here oxidative phosphorylation occurs. Oxidative phosphorylation. Okay. So this is about the respiration, the energy releasing system, about the topic respiration in plants and how CO2 is releasing in respiration and how heat is releasing in respiration, and the differences between photosynthesis and respiration. And we will discuss about another topic in the next class.